Okay, getting ready to bottle 6 gallons of white Merlot. It's done polishing, and this is a transfer pump that I've rigged up to make the job a little easier. Transfer pump is a camper clean water pump, 12 volts, and it's connected to a battery charger for 12 volt supply. And I've added a little foot pedal to turn the charger on and off, and that turns the pump on and off, so I can transfer it, start it and stop it when I need to. So there's the carboy, and you can see the pickup tube is a PEX bent with a hairdryer to the shape I want it, and nothing special, it's just open-ended. Put a couple marks on there so I could see it easily, know when I'm getting down to the end. Don't want to suck any air, because not that that hurts anything, but it creates bubbles in the hose. There's the PEX, and the PEX goes up. But what I did is I put a little rubber thing to keep it from dropping any further, cut a hole in to fit in a bung, and connected the PEX to my flex tubing. I use my wife's hair clips. Actually, I buy my own. To hold the tubing, you can screw them fast to most anything, and they act as a nice clip to hold things in place for you. So that goes down, and then the output comes out of the pump and feeds over to the other side. The way I have it rigged, comes up in this tube and goes into an output piece of PEX that's just open-ended, an open-ended stub. And I can put it in each wine bottle. When you're starting the transfer, I keep the PEX, I hold it down close to the bottom of the bottle. Once again, it prevents bubbles from forming and making it hard to judge when you're filled up to the neck. You can see, even doing it my way, I get a certain amount of bubbles, and that makes it difficult to judge your 2 or 3 fingers that you want for your cork and your little air gap between the wine and the cork. Nothing critical. With the charger running on 2 volts as opposed to 12 volts, or I mean charge rate 2 amps, instead of the higher amperage, it lets the pump run a little slower. This is a flow jet made for campers. I don't know if I can get a good enough picture with this old camera of mine. Flow jet, sanitary water, 12 volts, easy to put together, a couple fittings, right angle. The outlet fittings come with the pump, and one adapter gets it into your PEX. That's easy to figure out. I like to build everything. Here's the base of my PVC shelf, and it's screwed right fast to the dolly. I don't put my own wheels for right around $10. You can buy you can buy these little dollies, and I can do everything on a dolly. I'm an old geezer and I don't like to move things or pick things up. So you can see my next 3 polishers are all on the casters, on the little dolly casters, just sitting there, waiting to be, waiting for the polishing date. And I can wheel them over and bring them up. I even make life easier when I wheel them over. I don't know if you can see this, but I have a screwed into my overhead joist. I didn't use the I-beam, I put a wood screw in. This is my block and tackle. Harbor Freight, about $10. With one hook, and then on my, this is a magnet. I just used my magnet to hold it fast to my I-beam for storage. On all my carboys, I don't like the metal handle thing they sell. It doesn't lend itself to a straight vertical pickup, so I just do a clove hitch, clove hitch knot, and a pair of bowlines, and this comes up straight up and goes through that climber hook on the, and of course they can be opposite now of each other. So it makes the lift straight up, and once I've lifted it up, you can see I can now easily lift the whole carboy vertically, and then I push the pump assembly over underneath it, and I can lower it down right on my transfer cart. So like I said, no lifting. And I do the same thing. When I load my fermenter, I got some Pinot Noir working right now. But when I load my fermenter, I put half the juice on the floor while the fermenter's on the floor, and then I can still easily lift the half weight up onto the shelf. Then I can pick up the half that's left in the juice box and dump it in the fermenter. Now I've got the whole, and top it off. Now I've got the whole 6 gallons up on my working shelf. And I can, when that's finished, now I'm up high enough that I can take my drain, put a carby on the cart, on the dolly, wheel it over underneath, and with one little drain tube, if I can ever get the camera right, and with one little drain tube, I can push this on. And drain it right into the carboy. Alright, so I've got a little more here than I wanted to get into, but it's all about making wine. So, okay, so what have I got here? I've got my intake. I've cleaned everything, of course, and that's important. But when the shelf is empty, you can take 2 containers. You can have I have one for sulfide and one for scrap, and I can suck sulfide concentrate and pump it into the scrap bucket, and then I can take another container with clean fresh water in it and pump it through into the scrap bucket. And I've sanitized the inside of my tubes, my pump, everything, and I've rinsed it. And all I've had to do is basically hold the pipes in the buckets and step on the treadle, and my transfer system's about ready to go. So where am I? Now I've got my, and you can push this up and down. You can move this up and down, but I don't get it too close to the bottom because you want to get sediment. So I push it down as I need it deeper to stay in nice, fresh, clean juice. No matter how many times I rack them over, I always still get residue of some amount in the bottom. And if you suck it all the way to the bottom, you're going to have at least one bottle that has some solid particles, and nothing wrong with that. Drink's fine, but you don't want to show off your wine with particles floating in it. Okay, so I've got it in there, and I've already filled up these 6 with my pump. I do one about halfway to hold everything in place while I replace all my filled ones. Just move those over as I fill them. And then I've got my sanitized bottles over here, and I just replace those, ready to be filled. Let me shut this off and get some things out of the way before I break something.